They told her to strip for a standard inspection, laughed when she started unzipping her old jumpsuit, elbowed each other like they were middle schoolers, whispered garbage behind their hands as if she couldn't hear, and one even raised his phone, pretending to check the time but angling it for a shot. She turned her back, just trying to get it over with, and that's when the whole circus stopped. Because the tattoo down her spine wasn't some faded attempt at being cool or rebellious. And it sure as hell wasn't for decoration. It was a classified designation from a unit that, officially, didn't exist. And suddenly, the men who'd spent 5 minutes trying to humiliate her weren't laughing anymore. Yeah, that happened. And you know what? Everything after that moment was a masterclass in what happens when people assume they know your story based on nothing but your age, your hair color, or the grease stains on your boots. The colonel, real old-school military, silver at the temples, eyes that looked through people, not at them, walked in and saw the tattoo. His face changed in a way I'd only ever seen when someone finds a live grenade they thought was a paperweight. Let me back up a sec. She walked into Hangar 7 at Falcon Ridge like she belonged there. But not with that look at me swagger. Just quiet confidence, like she'd done this 1,000 times before. The name on her badge, Isla Roar. Maybe 48, maybe a bit more. Graying hair yanked back in a regulation bun. Coveralls with faded patches, steel-toed boots so battered you could track her career in every scuff. Battered clipboard. Toolbox that looked like it had outlived 2 wars. If you glanced her way, you'd think another contractor and move on. That's the thing about assumptions, though. Dangerous stuff. Especially in places where the most ordinary people sometimes carry the biggest stories. The place was an oven, heat waves dancing off the concrete outside. Jet fuel and sweat and metal blending into that mechanic's cologne no civilian ever forgets. Tools screeched, radios crackled in coded military speak. Isla's sign-in was crisp, every motion precise. Like she'd spent years filling out forms while things exploded in the background. Duty sergeant at the desk, grease under his nails, eyes like old engine oil, looked at her paperwork. Been a while since your company sent someone. Last guy couldn't tell a rotor from a lug nut. I'm not the last guy, she said. Not angry. Not smug, just a simple fact. Something about her made the sergeant pause. She reminded him of the lifers, people who could rebuild an engine by ear, who knew the right tool for the job and didn't waste words. Aircraft's in Bay 7. Do your checks. Don't mind the kids, they think they run the place. And that's when the show started. Lance Corporal Trent Harper, 22, shiny boots. Uniform so pressed you could see your future in it. But a mouth that needed work, decided she was his entertainment for the day. He'd been having a rough week, failed a systems test. Chewed out by his supervisor, stuck at the same rank while his friends got promoted. He spotted Isla and saw an easy target. Excuse me, ma'am. Not bothering to walk over, making her come to him. You here for avionics? She just looked at him, calm, measured. Structural assessment. Need your clearance paperwork. New protocols. She handed it over, no drama. Harper played expert. Squinting at stamps, making a show of it. By now, a couple more mechanics drifted over. Morrison, who still had baby fat on his hands. Chun, more into video games than engines. And Rodriguez, who should have known better, but liked feeling like part of the crowd. Harper tried to catch her out. Says you're cleared for structural, not avionics. She pointed out, structural includes avionics mounts since 2018. Chin snorted, she knows regs better than you do. But Harper wasn't backing down. He was on stage now. Regulations changed again. Need to make sure you're not carrying any devices. Phones, transmitters, could be hidden anywhere. Full compliance check. The sergeant looked up, ready to step in, but Harper waved him off. Drunk on that first taste of authority. You know the type. Layla didn't flinch. What exactly are you asking? Harper lied. Strip search, standard procedure for non-cleared personnel. Everyone knew that wasn't true. The sergeant's jaw clenched. Rodriguez inched back. Chen grinned, pulling out his phone. This'll be good. Isla paused. She could have called for help. Could have made a scene, could have walked out. Instead, she put her clipboard on the workbench and started unzipping. Morrison whispered, "She's actually doing it." The room stilled, the ugly kind of silence. She stripped her coveralls down to her waist, just a plain gray t-shirt underneath. No jewelry, nothing hidden, just work clothes. "Satisfied?" she asked. Harper grinned. "Turn around." She did. The room changed. That tattoo, a sharp triangle, a string of numbers, a bird with wings spread wide, wasn't art. Rodriguez's face went white. He'd seen pictures like that in old, burned photos his granddad showed him, before burning them, too. Markings from units that didn't exist. And right then, Colonel Finn walked in with 2 officers. Dropped his folder hard. Jesus Christ. Because that triangle was Task Force Viper. A Black Ops unit erased from the records after a mission so ugly in Afghanistan, nobody wanted it to exist. The bird? That's what they inked on survivors who made it home on their own, after everyone else gave them up for dead. The whole hangar froze. Harper started babbling. Just following security. Finn cut him off. "Stand down." You could hear it echo. He walked over, every step heavy. "Ma'am, get dressed." Isla zipped up. No drama. No shame. Just cool professionalism. Like nothing had happened. Chin was still holding his phone. Finn didn't even raise his voice. "Delete that footage now, or I'll have you court-martialed for recording classified personnel." Chin fumbled. The video disappeared like it was radioactive. Finn moved in close. Words just for her. Task Force Viper was decommissioned. "Officially," she replied. He nodded. "Understanding things you don't say out loud. You're not supposed to exist." She shot back. "Neither is that Raptor in Bay 3. But here we are." Finn blinked. The aircraft in Bay 3 was above his clearance. Only someone who'd lived in the shadows would know that. He ordered the hangar cleared, fast. "Anyone discusses this, you'll be washing dishes till your enlistment expires." Mechanics scattered. Harper tried to explain. Finn just said, "Report to my office at 1400. Bring your supervisor." That meant his career was about to take a hit he'd never forget. Once it was just them, Finn made a call. One of those numbers not in any directory. Priority Alpha. Verify Layla Roar. "Yeah, I'll hold." He hung up, watched Isla pick up her clipboard, calm as always. "They say you've got clearance I'm not allowed to ask about." "Then don't ask." "Anything I can do to help?" She barely looked up. "Just need to finish my job. Like any other day." That told him everything. She went right back to work, quiet, methodical. Williams, the senior crew chief, watched her trace vibration patterns on a rotor blade with her fingers. "Blades off by 2 millimeters, she said. He checked the log. She was right. She caught things nobody else saw. Hydraulic pump overheating, hairline cracks, loose wires. 30 years on the job, and Williams realized he was learning from her. Word spread, like wildfire but quieter, the way it does on bases. The lesson traveled. The quiet ones aren't weak. They're sometimes the strongest in the room. By lunch, every NCO knew what went down. And when Harper showed up for his meeting, hands shaking, his supervisor told him, "Just tell the truth. Don't try to justify it." Afterward, Harper got 6 weeks extra duty, mandatory training, a permanent reprimand. But the real lesson was already moving through the base. You never know who you're dealing with. That night, Williams found Harper nursing a beer. "You know what you did today?" Harper shook his head. "Everyone wants to make sure you get it. That woman you try to humiliate, she's the reason people like us get to go home." Rodriguez later said, "My granddad told me about people like her. The quiet ones who did things nobody talks about. You humiliated a hero today." Harper stared out at the flight line, maybe finally getting it. "How was I supposed to know?" "That's the point. You never do. Not until it's too late." When Isla left, the guard at the gate, old-timer, knew a thing or two, spotted the edge of her tattoo, and just nodded. "Have a good day, ma'am." She nodded back. 3 weeks later, The next contractor got treated with respect. People asked about qualifications before making jokes, offered help instead of roadblocks. Williams made sure every rookie mechanic heard the new rule. Treat everyone with respect. You never know their story. Finn kept Isla's report on his desk for months, not because of the details, but because of what it meant. Real excellence doesn't show off. It gets the work done and moves on. And Isla? She walked out into the desert sun, just another contractor in battered boots, her history still classified. Her name unrecognized, but the memory of what happened that day stuck with everyone in Hangar 7. Because sometimes, the most dangerous people are the ones who don't need to prove it. The real heroes never get parades. And when you think you know who you're dealing with, you probably don't. So tell me, have you ever seen someone completely underestimated just because they were quiet? Drop your thoughts below, because we read every comment. And if this story hit different, smash that like button, subscribe, and stick around. The next story's already lined up.